Welcome to Baltimore, home of the CIAA tournament, but it's Super Bowl week and everybody's mind is on LA.
Yes, except for us because we are here in Baltimore at the Brew Brothers Restaurant at the Horseshoe Casino downtown.
Complete with a sports book, and when you get here for the CIAA, it's going to be on and waiting for you. But first, to get you set up for Super Bowl 56, check us out. You're in the spot for the Sure Shot. All right, what's up, folks? I'm Mark Gray.
Chad Morton.
And welcome to the Sure Shot. We've played 18 weeks, well, I guess 20 weeks of football
Right,
now?
you got to include those playoffs.
Absolutely. And it's money time.
Straight cash, homie.
Literally, Super Bowl 56 kicks off. You've got the Rams, you've got the Bengals. You know something? You know Zoom has taken over the world.
Why you say that?
Because we had a Zoom Media Day.
Okay.
I've covered Media Day at the Super Bowl like 4 or 5 times. I miss the guys in the fluorescent hair, the downtown Julie Browns who know absolutely nothing about football,
Damn,
but
taking it way
look
back.
damn good when they were down there, I don't know, doing what MTV used to do when they played music. I miss that. But we still got the game. It's still as close, as good as advertised. So even before we get into how we think it's going to play out, I mean, just think about this for a second. We've both been betting against Joe Burrow.
Whoa, not me. I'm the one guy who picked him to go down to Tennessee and get that W and upset that
Yeah,
number
you
one
did.
seed. Well, as soon as I saw him in that death row starter kit, the gold chain, the black turtleneck, the Suge Knight impersonation, I had to go with him.
You buying into all that?
I'm buying into all of it. He got more swag than any other quarterback I've seen since the great one himself, who just retired.
Wow. Did
Yeah.
Brady really have swag, though, or was he just like an
You know what?
efficient assassin?
That's a real good question. He kind of got it. It came. You know, you saw it just develop in him. And then he got with Giselle, and then it really started glowing. He really started glowing. I got to give him his props, man. Brady did that, but now it's Joe Burrow's time.
You know something? He's had so many good receivers since the David Pattons and the Troy Browns of the world. They like the Bridget Moynihan in his life. You remember Bridget Moynihan?
Oh, man, you taking it way back.
Yeah, you know, that was, you know, the first love interest of this star child quarterback. So
Taking it way back.
big ups to Tom Brady and his swag. But the Brady swag wasn't enough to stop the rolling train from getting to the postseason. And the more and more you look at this thing, man, they say offense sells the tickets, but it's defense that wins the championship. The Rams, as we talked about earlier, have a swag on defense, despite everybody talking about what happened with Matthew Stafford and how he was the difference maker. I could make a compelling argument, and an even bigger difference maker for them has been Von Miller.
I'm still sticking with Aaron Donald. Aaron
But he
Donald,
was there.
I'm just saying, Aaron Donald drives that truck. But Von Miller, his leadership, his Super Bowl experience, and his game have proven to be a worthwhile bet for the LA Rams. Now, what can they do against this quarterback who is just fearless? And he's got a set of receivers that just don't know or don't have enough experience to be afraid or intimidated. This is just going to be one incredible game. I think it could be the highest rated Super Bowl of all time.
Well, that would probably have a lot more to do with the halftime show. I mean, let's be real for a second. I mean, you want to talk about something epic.
Unbelievable.
I mean, come on, man. I mean, you know, this is the one time where nobody's talking about commercials.
Commercials.
Right, commercials. You know how it is.
Nobody's changing that channel, that's for sure.
Not at all. So that's as big a factor in this one. And then it's LA. Now, I know you got extensive sources out in La La Land.
Sources.
Well, yeah, you know, sources. Don't you have sources?
Sources.
Not to be confused with sauces, but sources, right?
Okay.
What are your sources telling you about the vibe in Hollywood?
You know what? The word is out there in LA, the fans aren't really as pumped as they would be. There were definitely more 49er fans in LA last week than there were Ram fans. The Ram thing is still kind of new. They don't have that big following. I think Bengal fans are going to flood the area. I think it's going to be a decidedly even, if not a Bengal crowd, even in the home city. The Bengals have sort of captured America's imagination.
So what kind of odds would you lay on that? More fans in the stands? Because I'm going to tell you something. The research that I've done, extensive research, Google, says that the cheapest ticket you can buy on the open market right now is $5,000. That's standing room only.
Straight cash, homie.
Damn.
Right, exactly. So
Woo.
if the Ram fan is not taking over, you think there are going to be more people coming from Southern Ohio to LA to outdraw the Rams? And we know LA's a flavor of the month kind of place. It's a place that's driven by stars, and where the stars are going to be, the stars can, afford this. So to me, I'm looking at it as potentially the first home field advantage that the Rams are going to have anytime in SoFi Stadium this year.
Rams are still a new thing in LA. If they win this Super Bowl next year and every year going forward, that base will be established. Right now they're new, but those Bengal fans all over the country, and they really love their team.
Wait a minute now. Look, first off, we got Bills Mafia.
Yep.
We got Chiefs Kingdom.
Yep.
And you know what?
Don't forget Steeler Nation.
Well, yeah, of course. But I mean, that's right up there with the Cowboys following. So with that being said, what do we call these Bengal Bammers?
How about just that?
Oh,
Bengal Bammers.
He said that. I
Bengal
didn't say that.
Bammers.
I just floated it out there.
Okay. How about Bayou Bammers?
Nah, because that would be like, you taking a shot at the Saints.
Okay.
No shots at the Saints, bro.
Okay.
Even if it's a short shot.
Well, then, Bengals Bama it is.
All right.
You heard Mark Gray.
No, I coined the expression, he embellished and took it over. Anyway, back on the other side, we got our Sultan of the Sportsbook, Corey Parson from NBC Sports Edge. He's going to break it down scientifically as only he can as we continue with The Sure Shot, presented by Smash Sports. Sure Shot, straight chilling in the place to be at the Horseshoe Casino in Baltimore. He's Chad, I'm Mark. Our Sultan of the Sportsbook, Corey Parson, joins us right now. The man who can keep you inside the know as you get set to head to the window or to the app, however you get your groove on. So CP, my first question to you has got to be, with a game like this that appears so tight and the ever hovering and the looming problem that could be COVID-19.
Coronavirus!
When do you drop your money on your bet? Is it because you need to take some extensive time this week to wait because you really don't know. I read today that there's a strong probability that some players may not be allowed to compete.
Wow.
Because they may be forced into protocols.
Wow.
That would be something I know that the NFL would want to try to avoid. Thankfully, we did not have that situation throughout the playoffs. It wasn't prevalent as it was in the month of December. So hopefully, we see what we have in January. It carries on Super Bowl Sunday as well. So that's got to be, the hope right now. But I'm sure the NFL does not want that to mar the situation. But, you got to be careful out there in California.
Well, Corey, let me ask you this. Just on the surface, where are you leaning towards in this game? You've got the incredible Joe Burrow, who doesn't get faltered, doesn't get nervous against this Ram defense. We see these big veterans, Aaron Donald, Von Miller, ready to hold it down, ready to get this Super Bowl. What are you leaning to in this game before we get to some picks?
I mean, with this being the last game of the year, and then we don't have no more of these until we get back into September, that's going to be pretty significantly bet, and I'm going to have a number of different angles on this game. I guess my main wagers are going to be in some teasers. I'm going to tease the Rams to plus 3.5 or better. That's going to be one right there. I'm going to tease that number down and get that over at 41. I'm also going to tease the Bengals side and get that up to 11.5 as well. I think it'll be a closer game. And also, like I said, tease that with the over as well. And then the prop market is going to be humongous this year, especially now with New York online for sports betting. So, everybody that comes from that fantasy or that DFS, they're now into the prop market. And no game has a bigger prop market than it is Super Bowl single game parlays. You're actually going to have some carriers are going to have in-game single game parlays. So that prop market is going to be, I saw where one bookmaker said he's probably going to take more action on props than on the spread and the total.
I could see that. I mean, it seems to be a million and one ways that you could go. But to your point, prop bets and parlays are going to be what fuels the profit margin for the beloved casinos, right?
No doubt. They're not worried about the liability. Obviously, the Rams are a team that a lot of people pick to go to the Super Bowl, so there's liability on the Rams. But they're not really worried about it because of the prop market, really, unless they get slammed with the overs on specific players, Cooper Kupp, Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow to win the MVP. If they get hit real hard with those, there could be some liability, but the prop market is going to balance itself out. And if guys like Kupp and Chase don't hit their props, it's going to be a huge night for the books.
Interesting. Let me tell you, there's one prop bet I saw was the over-under on Joe Burrow's interceptions. The number's 0.5. Over-under on that. What do you say, Corey?
Yeah, Joe Burrow really don't throw interceptions, but we have seen him make some tight throws in the playoffs. So I would take a crack on the over on that one right there. I mean, it's a lot of interesting ones. Matter of fact, one of the higher bet props is Joe Burrow touchdown passes over 1.5. You got to pay $1.60 in juice for that one. But that one is being heavily bet. Also, the sack number is being heavily bet. Joe Burrow getting sacked over 2.5 times. Aaron Donald over 1.5 sack is also another popular one as well.
What would you be looking for a specific player, like in terms of, let's say Jalen Ramsey for a second? What's a reasonable expectation of him in terms of interceptions? Because that's the guy that's got like a Venus flytrap for hands kind of thing going on, and he's a tremendous individual coverer. We know Burrow's going to throw the football. Can he be a factor? And if you were going to lay something, where would you cut him off?
You really don't have those numbers on out yet as far as individual props, player props for defensive backs. They do have some for Aaron Donald and some of the defensive linemen, but for defensive backs, those will probably come up later in the week because see what happens, Mark. You set a number for a defensive back, a sharp can jump on that right away and hammer that. So they don't want to really release those until the last minute, you know what I'm saying, in hopes that you miss it. But I think if you're right now, what you have to bet is the Joe Burrow interception prop as more so than the prop for Jalen Ramsey to have an interception.
So what about a Matthew Stafford? Because to me, that's been the thing that has been the one that has really kept the opposition in games against the Rams. We know that defense is good enough to stop anybody. They got championship caliber defense, but Stafford doesn't necessarily know how to slam the door shut. So with him being kind of like that X factor that will give it up, what do you think is a reasonable number to look at, and which way would you go?
Yeah, Stafford to throw an interception is another one that's been very popular, and you're seeing that number hit. Opened up at minus $1.10. I've seen it as high as $1.40 in some places. So the general public likes Matthew Stafford to throw an interception in this game. So that's a prop bet that's being heavily bet. And that's the one that I would actually take a look at right there. We know that Matthew Stafford, can turn into Jared Goff. So, and the Bengals are going to play it well. They know that as well. So I think Matthew Stafford to throw an interception is a safe one.
Let me ask you this one more question before we let you go, Corey. Who you got as the MVP coming out of here if you had to put $1 on it?
Yeah, I think I'm going to have a number. I think I'll have several people on my MVP card, to be 100% honest with you. Okay. But obviously Joe Burrow if the Bengals win the game, Joe Burrow is going to win the MVP. No other Bengal will win the MVP besides Joe Burrow. And even if you want to be slick and take a guy like T. Higgins, who a lot of people are high on in this game, his numbers are getting hit pretty good. If Joe Burrow is throwing the ball, So if you like the Bengals, bet Joe Burrow to be the game's MVP. If you like the Rams, there's a couple of different options. Cooper Kupp is a guy that's being heavily bet right now, but at 6-1, I think Cooper Kupp is a good bet. I'm gonna have some shares of Cooper Kupp in the MVP market. But then I would also look at Aaron Donald and Von Miller. Von Miller's already been a Super Bowl MVP. Aaron Donald going up against that line. Aaron Donald's getting hit pretty heavily as well. So those are some of the guys that I would look at. And listen, the Rams are going to try to run the football. That's what they want to do. So if you want to take a shot at Cam Akers, that could be interesting as well.
What about a guy like a Joe Mixon? Just as but you're saying if the Bengals win the
Joe Burrow. I can't listen. I mean, I think Joe Mixon would have to run for 150-something yards and 2 touchdowns to take the MVP away from Joe Burrow.
He is our Sultan of the sports book. He is Corey Parson. Don't forget, you can check him out. Are you still going to do the newsletter at the end of the week?
Well, right now, that's wrapped up. Finished up the season pretty good, hitting at close to 60%. Had a pretty good run in the playoffs as well. But on NBC Sports Edge this week, we'll have a play from every, basically have the staff article up. So now it's just time to come on back and follow us and go as we take our journey through the NBA season. Obviously, get the trade deadline, All-Star Week. But, Mark, the second biggest event in sports betting is just about a month away.
Exactly.
The NCAA tournament. So there's going to be a lot of college basketball content coming. And hopefully I'll be down there at the Horseshoe with you guys, tossing some back that first Thursday of the tournament.
Absolutely. That is Corey Parson, our Sultan of the sports book. Hey, much love, bro. Appreciate everything you helped us out with all year long as we kicked off the new tradition in gaming, the Sure Shot. Holler at you soon, my friend.
Thank you, Corey.
No doubt. Good stuff, fellas.
We got more of what you came here for on the other side as we rock on. It's the Sure Shot from Smash Sports. All right, it's the moment that you've been waiting for as we continue with the Sure Shot from here at the Horseshoe Casino in Baltimore. CIAA fan, don't forget, you're here in Charm City in a couple of weeks. It's the place to be after you visit the basketball action, and we'll have more of that on the HBCU Sports Nation. So remember, like and subscribe to Smash Entertainment. All right, bro. You got any prop bets that you want to get off your chest?
I do. And, Corey mentioned it in our last segment. Joe Burrow, over 0.5 interceptions. So basically, is Joe Burrow going to throw at least 1 interception? I know he's Joe Cool, but this is the Super Bowl, and I say take the over on that. He's going to let 1 go.
Yep. I like it, especially the half of 1. Hey, Jalen Ramsey is still out there on the field.
That's
and
right.
As great as Joe Burrow is, and when he's got a lockdown, somebody coming across the middle. And don't be misled. If Taylor Higbee is not at 100%, the tight end for the Rams, that could change their offensive dynamic. But I'm going to tell you something, man. Let me throw one out there for you as a potential sneaky bet if you want to go a little bit against the grid on most valuable player.
Okay.
How about Odell Beckham Jr.?
Just talking about him off camera.
I mean, just think about that for a second. Here's a guy that we haven't talked anything about.
Nothing.
Because of the emergence of Joe Burrow, the great season that Cooper Kupp had. OBJ, I think, is built for these moments.
Yes, he is.
He's a star.
That's what they brought him to LA for. And he shines in big games.
Right.
Pressure does not get to him.
Nope.
I would definitely lay some money in there. We don't have the odds on that, but if you can find that bet, that's a good one to take it. And then talking about MVP, they got Cooper Kupp here, Super Bowl MVP, plus 600. He's the favorite right now to win it. Would you take that?
No, I can't.
I'm with you.
I can't, and I'm gonna tell you why. It has less about doing whatever's on the field. If you take a bet for MVP, you're at the behest of reporters. Never bet with reporters. They're just not that smart. Sometimes you can be, paralyzed by your job being to analyze. And I think oftentimes that's what happens. That's why quarterbacks seem to always be the most valuable player. And I think with that being a trend, if, as you say, Bengals win, Joe Burrow's MVP, if the Rams win, I think you got to look at Matt Stafford. I think everybody is pulling for Stafford as the Joe who's overcome, if you will, and I would suggest that he's probably the reporter's choice, the press box choice leader in the clubhouse.
I don't know. I'm going to tell you who I would take. If I'm going to throw some money, just some play money out there on an MVP bet, I'm going to go with Aaron Donald.
So would it be like bodega money or Jordan money?
I mean, just bodega money. Money. I'd go with Aaron Donald.
Like penny candy, bodega money?
I think maybe a little bit more than that. If you get a lot of penny candy, yeah.
Loaf of bread, bodega money, something
But yeah,
like that.
if I had to throw some money out there, I'd go with Aaron Donald if I'm picking somebody for the Rams.
All right, what else you got for me?
Well, let's see. We got the over at 48.5. 48.5 points. That is tough. All the odds makers were so spot on in the Kansas City Bengal game. I think the over-under was 48 as well, and they didn't make it. What do you think about 48.5 right here?
I think I'm taking the under.
You think you're taking the under?
I think I'm taking the under. I don't think either one of these teams are going to get to 24 points because that's been the recurring motif of the games that the Rams have played throughout this playoff. They've been all in that 20-14, 24-17 type of realm. It may be close, but I just don't think this game gets to a point where either team exceeds the 24-point mark. As a matter of fact, 24 will probably win the game, and I think it'll be 24-20 in the neighborhood, 24-21, maybe like a field goal game, but I just don't trust that final 4 points.
You know, I hate this over-under bet right here. I love what the Rams defense does, but Cincinnati's like a second half team, and then they sneakily will score 2 to 3 touchdowns in that second half. If I had to take this bet, I'm going to take the over. I'm seeing 24-27, somewhere thereabouts, where we're going to get just over that 48 points.
Interesting. So that's where we are right now. I'm going to go under. He's going to go over.
Over.
That's where it is. All right, so who you got and why?
Oh, man, you want me to go first?
Absolutely.
All right, we got the Bengals plus 4.5. When I look at this, I say with the experience on the Rams and the defense of the Rams, there's no way the Rams should lose this game. There's no way the Rams should lose this game. But will they cover 4.5 points? I don't think they will. This is a field goal game at best. Either way. And if I'm getting 4.5 points, I got to go with Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals to cover. To cover.
I'm going all in with the Bengals. I've had enough of getting burned by Joe Burrow. I mean, I've been burned so much these playoffs by going against him. I got blisters on my back pocket. So with that being said, I'm going to take the Bengals outright to win this game. I'm going the Bengals in an upset, and I guess the folks who are going to be, out there on a 9 freeway, they're going to be going home a little upset because I've seen Joe Burrow before in money games. I saw him in the SEC championship, wasn't supposed to win, got it done. Saw him in the NCAA or the FCS championship game, wasn't supposed to get that one in. He got it done. Hey, this is the one on succession. We're watching history and a new ascension. I'm taking Joe Burrow as this is his crown. You know how they do it when the white smoke comes up when the new pope is elected?
I remember.
This is the Pope Joe Burrow moment in the NFL. Bengals erase years of disappointment by stealing the Lombardi Trophy in Hollywood. What a Hollywood ending for a central casting look in a quarterback.
So I got the Bengals covering. He's got the Bengals on the money line.
Yes.
So, and that's a better bet, by the way.
Right.
So if you believe that. But I will say this, for those of you who want to bet the Bengals and love the Bengals, as we discussed off air, There is an old Simpsons episode, for those of you that know The Simpsons, that predicted this game, and it did have the Bengals winning. Bengals in LA playing the Rams, getting the W. Take that information and do what you want with it. But if you know The Simpsons like I do, that show is rarely wrong.
Learn from Bart. Listen to Bart.
Go back 30 years and watch those episodes to find out what's going to happen tomorrow.
Dope! And remember, the information contained therein is for entertainment purposes only. So, bet only as much as you can afford. And if you've got a gambling problem, please dial 1-800-GAMBLER. And remember, how do you identify a gambling problem? If you're thinking about going to the mortgage payment or to the college fund of your child, maybe you should make that phone call because you don't need to risk it. Bro, it's been the bomb diggity all year.
Great season.
Brothers getting it in. Don't forget, Sure Shot continues on social media leading up and through the NCAA tournament. And we hope to see you again in, well, March. When the madness begins.
Hey, but we'll see you here first at Brew Brothers. Special shout out and a thank you to them for allowing us to film our last segment here right in downtown Baltimore at the Horseshoe Casino.
Hey, look, and you know, this is a brew. I'm a brother, so bottoms up as we head to Super Bowl 26 here on the Sure Shot. Good luck, folk. Hey, this is an honor, Joe Burrow.
Ha!
Dude.
See you next time.